ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Flatout Racing Network's coverage of the season finale of the second season of the All-Stars Racing Premier Talladega Superspeedway Series here from the high banks of Talladega Superspeedway. Ready tonight after 9 incredible races of action to crown a champion at the end of 66 laps. I'm Seth Cole, being joined by Kyle Matthews. Kyle, we're so used to this track-car combination with Talladega and the Men Cup 2019 machines on Thursday nights. We now roll them over here to Saturday night, and we know coming into this race that the championship is all but wrapped up, but that almost makes it more exciting, I think, for us as race fans, because now these drivers, they can go out there. They don't really have to worry about points. It's almost like we've started the season anew. It's that bring home the steering wheel or bring home the trophy mentality, which is going to make it exciting for us from green flag to checkered flag.
Yeah, it really will make things exciting. And, as you mentioned, the championship is all but decided. Not entirely. There is a long shot that Denny Carroll could not win the championship tonight, but it's going to take an awful lot for that to happen. So, yeah, like you mentioned, it's going to be a fun race. These drivers are going to go all out with really nothing to lose, and it's going to be fun to watch until the very end.
Yeah, you mentioned about that long shot there for Chuck McClure, who has been the only repeat winner here on the season. So far, 8 different drivers have gone to victory in the first 9 races. Chuck McClure 36 points behind Denny Carroll. I believe there are a total of 35 drivers that are taking the green flag here tonight. Brian Wolf, who we'll actually be talking with here in just a moment, was kind enough to give me the stats that more than likely for Chuck to be able to pull off a buzzer beater of a championship victory, Denny Carroll, the points leader, would have to finish outside of the top 30, and Chuck McClure would pretty much have to dominate the race. He would have to lead the most laps, obviously win the race as well. Stranger things have happened. We have seen just about a little bit of everything when it comes to superspeedway racing, so we can't leave that possibility completely off the table, but with how consistent Denny Carroll has been this season, he will certainly be looking to continue to do the same and cap off his championship here tonight. But I mentioned about the fact that 8 different drivers have gone to victory lane here. A lot of parity this season. And what do you think? Do you think that we end up seeing another driver join the likes of Chuck McClure as a multi-time winner to end off the season? Or do you think we maybe go 9 for 10 with an entirely different driver finding victory lane for the first time this season, and maybe even establishing themselves some good momentum for when the third season rolls around?
I mean, just seeing how competitive this series is, this season has been in this series. Like you mentioned, only one repeat winner. I think the odds are pretty good, and that's getting another different winner here tonight.
Well, happy hour is currently running. I believe they are currently in driver's meeting right now. We're going to take the opportunity here to bring in one of the individuals that is the spearhead of this series, gets everything organized, gets these drivers all prepared every single week. Let's see if we can have the opportunity here to dial up the owner of the series, Mr. Brian Wolf.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, Brian, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy, my friend?
I do, affirmative.
Man, I'll tell you what, you've had an incredible second season here of this series. I checked and saw you had 52 different drivers take a green flag here in these first 9 races. I know we got the championship all but wrapped up, but looking forward to capping off this season with a great race here. You got to be pleased with the numbers you've seen come out here, the competitive racing there's been, and also the parity of the different drivers we've had go to victory lane this season.
Oh my gosh, we would have never expected this kind of turnout with the diversity that we have from drivers all over the community. Is what I'm talking about. It's like it's been so much fun, and we've got the numbers right where we have them, or right where we want them actually, and it's just been phenomenal, man. I appreciate the opportunity to get up here with you guys. I only got a couple of minutes, but I always want to come up here and thank everybody in the league, and thank you guys especially for covering some of our races for us. You guys just do a phenomenal job. Excuse me 1 second.
Oh, you're good.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. But, as always, I really do need to thank, our sponsors, the league itself, All-Star Racing League and all its staff, and David Chin especially, along with Bryant Motorsports and Auto Sales and Parts Barn. The ones who provide all this for us, and everything has just come together for this season. Now, as far as this season goes, Denny Carroll's pretty much got it wrapped up with a 36-point lead. But I think tonight you're going to see him just maybe trying to be careful. Chuck McClure really has to pull off a miracle here tonight to have a chance at it. But you might see a divided field too, because he's got his teammates out here. They both do, and it should be interesting to watch this unfold tonight.
Certainly will be. I got to ask you as well, because, I remember we covered your series back when it was just known as the ASR Superspeedway series. It's now obviously taken on the new name. As you mentioned, the numbers have increased. So what does this do from an administration standpoint in terms of getting you geared up and ready to go for the third season of this series?
Well, I tell you, I'm glad you asked that, because, actually we are going to be taking some things. You're going to see some race length changes next season. 1 second. I'm sorry about that. I was getting talked to just as you were asking me that. But we're gonna be doing some different race lengths, trying to maybe whittle down some of these fuel mileage runs that we've been seeing with the 66 lap format. So we're going to be making some changes there, and we've also implemented a sponsorship program for our drivers to put their name on these different races, and help out with the cost end of this stuff. And we're going to see some really, really cool events for season 3 coming up.
Well, Brian, obviously, we appreciate joining us up here in the booth, giving us the lowdown of what's happening, not only this season, but in seasons coming up here. And obviously, as well, we want to echo what you're talking about as far as the sponsorship and everything, allowing us to be able to cover this race here tonight. I know that a lot of drivers out here, yourself amongst them, want to cap off this season with a victory. So, obviously, kudos to you. Job well done as an admin here for this series. But best of luck to you as a driver as well. Maybe it's not the last time we're talking to you here this evening. Go win this thing.
Oh gosh, I think I would need a miracle there too. But
it's a super speedway. Anything can happen.
That's right. And any one of these drivers on any given night can win these things. They've all been in these different situations before. And like I said, with the drivers that we have from the different leagues around the community, this series, it really has created a certain ambiance to it. As far as the competition level and everything that just goes into it, man, it's really been fun. It's been fun to watch as well. I got to say that from where I sit, though, top 10 is like they tell me, it's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, we hear it on numerous occasions, no matter what league it is, when it's Superspeedway racing. Race victories are tough to come by, but as you say, good finishes as well. So best of luck to you here tonight, and congratulations on an incredible season.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, and we'll be seeing you.
Absolutely. Well, that's Brian Wolf. We're definitely going to forgive Brian those little pauses there. As mentioned, he is part of administration, so there was a lot of, I think, administrative chatter that was going on right there as he was trying to divert his attention for us as well, to be able to talk to us in that interview.
Wearing multiple hats tonight.
Not
so
easy.
Awfully busy.
Not easy at all. Got multiple voices in his ear, and probably will during the course of this race as well, as he will be not only adminning this race, but also driving in this event as well. And he brought up an interesting point also that I think is something we'll have to keep an eye on, and that is the strategy of the 41 of Denny Carroll here tonight, because as we mentioned, it is certainly a long shot for Chuck McClure, but there are enough drivers in the field where there is a mathematical chance for Chuck to be able to walk away with this championship. So I'm looking at the starting lineup here. Denny Carroll looks like he's going to be rolling off from the 11th position. So not necessarily all the way up at the front, but not necessarily at the rear of the field. As soon as the green flag drops, if you're sitting in the driver's seat of the 41, do you feel the track position is important to maintain, or do you maybe throw out the parachute, drop to the back, and kind of see what happens in front of you in the early going?
It really depending on how everyone's racing. If they're getting kind of wild and kind of crazy early on in the race, be better off, dropping to the back, trying to stay out of trouble. But if things are pretty calm, then, I would feel comfortable, being, up front as close to the front as I can. Like I said, it just really depends on everybody else around you.
Well, we heard Bryant also talk about the fact here that some potential adjustments being made to race length. 66 laps of racing here tonight, and they've had some fuel mileage races. We've seen that in the past. What are the odds, do you think, that we could end up seeing tonight's finale come down to fuel?
Well, these Superspeedway races, they're so unpredictable. Like, we see it every Thursday night over at the Talladega Challenge and RTG. It's like, we never see the same race twice. So, I mean, it's quite possible it could come down to fuel mileage.
Want to also take the opportunity to give a shout out to Blaine Donlin, Tarnation TV. We know that they would have gladly been covering this finale here tonight, but Blaine's got family visiting, and so he told the guys over at ASR, hey, send the broadcast over FRN's way. So really excited to be able to bring you all coverage of this race here tonight and find out who's going to be the second champion of the Premier Talladega Superspeedway Series here for All Stars Racing. As you see the field, 35 cars strong, filing their way onto the grid behind the pace car, and Nate Balser starts on the pole position. Unlike Thursday nights, folks, they actually do get to put a qualifying lap down here. Balser, very good Superspeedway qualifier, going to share the inside of the front row with the 33 of Tim Anderson. Kelly Causey and Rodney Sullivan's going to be in row 2. We got Al in the chat here saying, hey, double down on what you did Thursday night there, Rodney. So we'll see if Rodney can potentially get 2 checkered flags within 72 hours. Bob Seminara is going to share the third row with 2-time winner Chuck McClure. Seminara, a former winner on the season as well. Row 4 is going to find the number 21 of Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
There's the first one of the night. Robert Breedlove is going to share the outside of that 4th row with Ken Roberts, Mark Paglia completing the top 10. Championship points leader Denny Carroll will roll off the grid from the 11th spot. He'll share that 6th row with Greg Lovell. Jeffrey Elliott going to be in row number 7 alongside of Brian Schilling. Keep an eye out for Brian. He's not in the usual number 4 that we see on Thursday nights. He's actually in the 62 here this evening. Going to take a little getting used to. Mike Mangialardi in row 8 alongside of Keith Bynum. Row 9, Dennis McCarthy, Craig Hagley. Chris Elliott and Anthony Lucato will complete your top 20. Cy Jones and Robert Spring, they're row 11. They were the last drivers to take time. The rest of the drivers were listed according to random qualifying draw. So we'll put Brian Wolf, who we just talked with, and Brian Rawson back on the 12th row. Ulysses Sandoval, Greg Palmer in row 13. David Shin and Billy Elliser are in row 14. Row 15 will be Hud and Mike Becker. In row 16, David Little, Sean Turner. Rick Becker and Dave Shalinsky will be back in row 17. And bringing up the rear in the 35th position will be another former winner on the season in Cody Lamas. Mentioned 8 different winners on the season. Pole sitter Nate Balser is one of those drivers as well. Rodney Sullins, Mark Paglia, and Doug Hulick, the other former winners that I did not list there off the starting lineup.
I always find it interesting when drivers, when they have the option to qualify, drivers who choose to just let the game decide where they start for them.
A lot of
I wonder
drivers
what's up with that.
A lot of drivers, and I've kind of fallen into this category on occasion too, are hoping that they're going to be towards the rear of the field so they can watch all the action out the windshield and hopefully find a way through a potential early wreck. Hopefully we don't see that here, as 66 laps await these drivers, and Nate Balser was on it. Look at the gap he was already able to open up over Kelly Causey on that inside line.
It's a great start, almost too good of a start, but you see Causey and Anderson side by side there for second. That's what the 79 wants to see. Now he's gonna, thought he was gonna move up in front of the 33, but he decides to stay on the bottom.
Third line already starting to form there. Here comes Chuck McClure. 2 victories in the last 5 races. Looking to be a 3-time winner to close out the season. And of course, as well as we mentioned, one of the criteria for him to be able to snipe the championship from Denny Carroll is more than likely he's going to have to lead the most laps. So he is trying to get to the front ASAP.
Yeah, he's going to have to throw caution to the wind tonight. Absolutely nothing to lose, everything to gain. Keep your eye on that 17 car all night tonight.
Tim Anderson got shuffled into the middle. He's starting to go backwards. Kelly Causey looks like he's going to suffer that exact same fate as Rodney Sullins. High, wide, and handsome around the top with help from McClure. Causey, who was second on the inside line, now that position is going to go to Bob Seminara in that black and white with the orange flame 712 this evening.
That's a cool looking car. It's the first time I've seen that paint scheme.
Different sponsorship on that number 712. Shadows on Fire. We end up occasionally in our YouTube chat, and we hear Bob talk about Q, that being Quentin Wainwright, who is a musical artist. Shadows of Fire is his thing. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Blaine on Tarnation TV has actually used a couple of Quentin Wainwright's music things in intros for his broadcasts.
Yeah, I think he's mentioned that a couple of times. So yeah, sounds about right. And Chuck McClure already got himself, was it just one bonus point for leading a lap in the series?
Correct.
Okay, so there's one thing McClure needed to do tonight. Getting a good push there from Rodney Sullins. We saw him, like you mentioned, we saw him go to victory lane this Thursday night in the Talladega Challenge at this very racetrack. So carrying some momentum into tonight.
You don't think drivers are superstitious? That's the same car that he won in as well. Same
Yes,
paint
it was.
scheme. So, and this has happened before. As a matter of fact, the car running right behind him, Mark Paglia. It's been interesting to see how drivers, when they win on Thursday nights in the Talladega Challenge Series, they come over here 72 hours later. Well, actually, it'd be about 48 hours later. Run here on Saturday nights and find victory lane. Mark Paglia, when we saw him in that winless streak a few weeks ago, well, about a month ago, he came over here the following Saturday and won here in ASR. So it's amazing how that kind of momentum rolls over from a Superspeedway series to another Superspeedway series.
It's kind of like we see this all the time, like we've seen this in years past in NASCAR. We're just waiting on one driver to finally break into victory lane, and once they did, they broke out quite a few of them in a row, or at least in the same amount of time there, and see it the same thing right here.
Got a couple of drivers out of the race. And I'm not certain, there's no caution, but I did notice that David Little has retired from the race, and Brian Rawson, who actually, I think he had a pretty decent qualifying effort, he started back in 24th. He's retired out of the race due to an engine gearbox. There's
boy.
trouble! That's the Elliott brothers. Chris and Jeffrey just got together, and there's more carnage up on the racing surface as Brian Schilling, David Chin, Sean Turner, and a bunch of others going to go for a wild ride down the back straightaway.
Still racking up their 94, getting into the inside wall there. Nice country time throwback scheme on that car.
Is that a Michael Waltrip car, I believe?
Yes, it is. Back in the late 80s sometime. But yeah, that is a Michael Waltrip paint scheme.
There's Sean Turner, got the Kyle Busch tribute there on the hood of his 136. Pretty extensive left side damage on that Toyota. And there is Jeffrey Elliott trying to bring that car back to pit lane. He and Chris Elliott, his brother, were the two that I saw initially get together. I'm not 100% certain that's what brought out the caution, though.
A lot of damage on the back of that 9 car, too.
Definitely got into the inside wall, did Chris Elliott. We're going to take a quick moment here. We're definitely going to show what brought out the yellow. I want to just quickly take a double check back and see if we can find what happened to both David Little and Brian Rawson that had them retire out of the race so early. I mentioned about an engine gearbox problem for Brian Rawson. Let's see
There were
if we
a couple of cars I noticed got off to a really bad start. Yeah, it was those two.
Yep. This is going all the way back right to the initial drop of the green flag. I think we're going to see right here. Yep, as soon as he shifted up to 4th, it was gone. He had no 4th gear. And David Little, like maybe, I'm not sure if he didn't know that the 6 was down a gear or if he was going to try and see if he could help him. And Rawson eventually ended up bringing his car down pit road into the garage area. David Little actually came down pit road this time around here before the completion of the first lap.
Is that the same issue that
It
they
might
had,
be,
or-
actually, yeah. Our scoring is showing him in third gear as well. Did we literally have 2 drivers lose fourth gear off the start?
And the odds of that happening, that is absolutely crazy. Right at the very start, the same
Wow.
driver, same exact issue.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I know I haven't, that is for sure.
And then we'll take a look and see now what actually brought out the yellow flag. Jeffrey Elliott and Chris Elliott were in 2 different lanes as they were making their way through 1 and 2. Yellow and blue car in the middle is the one we're looking at here. He's running behind Craig Hagley. He's got Ulysses Sandoval behind him. I might have actually gone 1 lap too early here. Yep, I did. Sorry, folks, I'm new here. Am I a lap too early again? Wow. What lap was it? All right, here we go.
Where are we, Bill?
Here we go. Lap 5 is when this happened on. Oh,
Oh, they were just 3 wide, and
golly.
one Elliott got knocked down into the other Elliott, it looked like. There, I can tell that that car was on the far outside, but
I think that was Keith Bynum in the 63. Did you see the hit that Chris Elliott took? I mean, we knew that back end was crunched in. I didn't realize it was that violent a hit. Here's a look at it again with the camera focused on the 9. I mean, watch this.
man,
Rear wheels were off the ground before he even hit the wall.
looks like the 9 is the only one with any real noticeable damage for the most part.
Saw Jeffrey Elliott crawling back to pit road. I'm pretty sure that that car might have been down a left front tire. So here's a look from the aerial view.
That is... I don't know about that one. That just... don't know if the 63 thought he was clear, or... I don't know.
And it almost kind of started a chain reaction wreck, because we're going to do the aerial view again, and you're going to see a couple of cars ahead of the incident, Brian Schilling and Greg Lovell, and watch how it just kind of ricochets the 63 into the right rear of the 880 up into the left rear of the 62.
Who was that right there? Just barely got by. I think that was Ulysses Sandoval.
I think
Did
it
a nice
was.
job at getting by that, and I was right in front of him.
Sean Turner got turned around the wrong direction there as everybody trying to make their way by. I think Robert Spring might have also gotten a piece, maybe Brian Wolf. So a big wreck here to start off this race. And it looks like Jeffrey Elliott has taken his number 56 behind the wall, so he'll join Brian Rawson and Dave Little. Not even 10 laps into this race, already 3 DNFs. They have made repairs to Chris Elliott. He's back out there. It'll be interesting to see how up to speed that car is. I normally say if you make impact with the back end of your race car, you're going to be all right. But when you have that massive a hit with the back end of the race car, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the car I expected would have retired from the race, but only one was the 56 car.
So it looks like everybody came down pit road. Some more than likely just topped off the fuel tank. Others putting on some fresh rubber. We should potentially get the lights out this time by Rodney Sullen's team, the fastest on pit road, getting him out with the top position. Looks like Nate Balser will line up to his outside in second, with Chuck McClure, Mark Paglia, Kelly Causey the top 5. Seminara, Breedlove, Carroll, Waugh, and Anderson gonna be the top 10. Just checking right now, Chuck McClure has, according to scoring, led 4 laps The thing for Chuck McClure is he's going to have to lead a lot more than that if he's going to be able to counter Denny Carroll. And the problem for him is Denny Carroll actually gained spots since the drop of the green flag. He rolled off from 11th, and he's going to restart 3 spots up in 8th.
Another thing that could really help out Denny Carroll here tonight is the attrition rate. We've already had, what, 3 DNFs? And where did he have to finish? Like, what, 36th?
I believe he had to just finish in the top 30.
Okay.
And I said that there were 35 drivers, at least on the grid, that were scheduled to take the green flag. We only had 33 that did take the green flag. So we've only got 30 cars out there right here and now. So as you say, if we continue to have a race of attrition and more drivers retire out of the race, we then more than likely, just based off of the numbers of drivers in the field, would probably have the championship decided before we even get to the checkered flag.
Definitely see how this race goes on here. What kind of racing we're going to see, if that's going to help out Denny Carroll's causes or not.
We're going to have 3 Chevrolets up here inside of the top 5. Mark Paglia, the lone Ford. And I believe that you've got to go all the way back to, I believe, 18th place before you find the highest running of the Toyotas, that being that number 94 of Dave Shalinsky. So you see the pace car make the left-hand turn to pit road. He'll leave the field in the hands of Rodney Sullins. Green flag back in the air here. Lap 9 completed. Lap 10 goes up on the board.
The 79 car got another good restart right there, but kind of too good of a restart as Mark Paglia could not keep up with him right there, and might cost him the lead, but now he's side by side with Rodney Sullins. Might actually get the lead here.
The top 2 rows comprise 5 of the previous 9 winners on the season. 2 wins for McClure and then a win each for Sullins, Paglia, and Nate Balser. Balser actually winning the first race of the season. They don't run a playoff system here, so there's no winning you're in. It's whoever accumulates the most points over the course of 10 races, and that puts a lot of pressure on drivers as well, because I can't list the number of times you and I have talked about on Thursday nights over the Talladega Challenge Series, drivers having inconsistent seasons. They'll run really well one week, and then they'll find themselves in the garage the following week. What Denny Carroll's been able to do, only 1 victory this season, but all those other victories where he's not, or all the other races where he's not parked in victory lane, he has brought home consistent, solid finishes, and that's what you got to do in this kind of a system.
That's the season that he had last season in the Talladega Challenge. Got into the playoffs, didn't win a race in the regular season, but was able to point his way in there and taking that over here to this series and has mastered it almost.
We got a car down there on the apron. Look, that was Mike Mangialardi. They've let him back up onto the racing surface. As you saw, that dive to the inside by Bob Seminara, most recent winner this season, 1 week ago, trying to end off the season with back-to-back trips to victory lane, but looks like maybe just a little bit more energy in that outside line has helped propel Nate Balser, the pole sitter, back to the front.
Seminara's getting a nice push there from Rodney Sullins and Chuck McClure. See a third line on the outside right there. That's being led by Kelly Causey in that 00. We've got Dennis McCarthy, Ulysses Sandoval, Ken Roberts up there with them.
Hey,
Denny Carroll right there in the middle.
Ulysses was one of the drivers that elected not to take time. They started him out 25th off the grid, so nice job working his way to the front here early. As Seminara is going to snipe the lap-led bonus point there from Nate Balser. They were almost 3 wide for the lead crossing the stripe there, but then you just see the shorter way around the racetrack favors the inside line as middle line loses ground. That third line loses even more ground. Oh! 1 car, 2 cars up and over. That was Craig Hagley and Dale Shalinsky. Caution will wave.
A lot of damage to Craig Hagley right there. The back end all torn up. Took a hard hit to the inside as well.
See the roof caved in also, indicating
that
that car was up and over. Sean Turner down in the grass here as well. Did not see him involved. Might have had potentially a follow-up wreck. As there's the other car that went up and over. Let's take it back to the back straightaway and see what happened. This was around mid-pack. Oh, little door bang right there. And then not clear.
Boy, Cody Lama's got a good view of that right there. And
My goodness. I've seen cars barrel roll in the grass on the front straightaway. That's about the longest barrel roll I've seen on the back straightaway in quite a while.
really curious on what was something going on between those two there. Was there
No, maybe. Let's see.
a door bang right there on the back stretch right there? Maybe the 82 thought he was clear after that.
Did you see Chris Elliott there on the inside?
Oh,
That thing was slideways going down to avoid the 94. And you mentioned about Cody Lamas. He was behind, probably had the best seat in the house of that wild ride for Craig Hagley. Let's go on board with the 48 car.
gotta be wondering, man, is he ever gonna stop?
You know, there's always that question when they're wrecking in front of you. Are they going to slide up? Are they going to slide down? How do you predict where a barrel rolling car is going to be when you come up on them?
Solid. See a little bit there of the 136 right up in front of him right there, that follow-up wreck.
He was down on the apron, it looked like, going into turn 3. He and Chris Elliott both had to take evasive action, and so obviously had a very shallow entry going into the upcoming corner. Wow, I don't know how Chris Elliott got past that.
It's a nice save right there. Looks like he got down into the grass and that sent him around.
Can't tell from that angle. I don't think he hit that inside wall. But certainly could have been a lot worse with the contact we saw sustained by both the 82 and the 94 in that wreck. So that's going to bring out the second caution of the evening. No surprise, 82 of Craig Hagley couldn't even drive it back to pit road. His night is going to conclude. He'll finish in the 30th position, and I guess it's safe to say that with that DNF, that's pretty much it, right? Mathematically, that would be championship to Denny Carroll. Now, everybody's basically just racing for the final checkered flag of the season.
Takes the pressure off everybody right there, so looks like about 5 cars stayed out right there. They're all coming to pit road right now.
Robert Spring, Shalinsky, Lamas, Billy Elliser, and Sean Turner. David Chin actually going to stay out and lead at Bryant Motorsports Parts Barn Chevrolet. Seems as good a time as any with that car out in front and the lights still on for us to step aside and take an FRN race break. Appreciate Bryant Motorsports giving us the opportunity here with their sponsorship to bring you coverage of tonight's race. So we will be back to the action in just a few moments. Keep it here on FRN.
Car for Grandma. Me too. He got it at Bryant Motorsports on High Street in Portsmouth. She's really gonna love it. I know, right? If you need a car, give us a call at 393-2600. That's 393-2600.
At the Parts Barn Used Auto Parts, we're crushing cars and prices. The last Saturday of every month is half price. We pull for you, or you pull your own and save even more. Call or search inventory at partsbarnva.com. The Parts Barn, Suffolk and Portsmouth.
Working our second caution of the night here in the season finale, Season 2 of the All-Star Racing's premier Talladega Superspeedway Series. As Bob Seminaro will get ready to put us back under the green flag. You saw almost nearly a dozen drivers come down pit road there at the 1 to green to top off the fuel tank. May see this as a fuel mileage race. I mean, we're entering into the territory of where these drivers would have had to make their first pit stop had we been green since the start, so a little bit of a mixed bag in terms of who's got what in the tank here for the remainder of this race.
Yeah, very interesting timing for these two cautions. And it's for sure already seeing some different strategies being played.
Just joining us, 33 drivers took the green flag. 29 are still running on the lead lap. 4 drivers currently behind the wall. Craig Hagley, Jeffrey Elliott, Brian Ross, and Dave Little. Championship was all but decided coming into tonight. 36-point advantage over Chuck McClure was Denny Carroll. And he is guaranteed now that he will finish this race inside of the top 30. There you see what the interval was between Denny and Chuck coming into this race. Been a great consistent season for Denny Carroll, and he's actually going to restart up here on the inside of row number 3. So the good season continues here, and obviously big picture racing wanted to win the championship, but that'd just be like the cherry on top of the sundae for Denny, right? Even if he's not able to win, come away with a top 3, a top 5 to cap off a championship season.
He's got absolutely nothing to lose now, so go out there and try to take on both trophies here tonight.
Saw them really stacking up there on that inside line. Fortunately, it looks like everybody was able to keep it pointed in the right direction, but you can see that really stalled out their momentum, and the momentum is up on the top. Chuck McClure now out in clean air, clear of both lanes, getting pushed by Greg Lovell. Bob Seminara leading that inside line, and starting to see a few drivers migrate up there, try and see if they can get a third line going. Robert Breedlove up there, along with Ken Roberts. The 2 Pepsi-type machines are up there, Pepsi and Mountain Dew.
Pretty fitting right there. Wow, Kelly Causey got on the apron for a brief moment, gets back onto the track, everybody keeping things together. Nice job, everybody there. Well, as soon as I say that.
That was Keith Bynum I first saw out of shape. Greg Palmer's that orange car top right of your screen. David Shin, who we just saw leading. Oh my goodness.
Didn't look too bad for the 63 until that flip right there, and now you see all kinds of damage on that 63.
It's kind of parallel with the banking of that corner in turn 2. And it counterweighted. And then as soon as it caught the grass, sent him into a massive barrel roll. Ulysses Sandoval, a lot of damage on the back end of his race car. He was collected up in that too. As they all make their way back to the start-finish line, frozen field. So everybody just maintaining their position, but keeping their speed of around 190 miles per hour. As now Chuck McClure will throw in the clutch. They'll coast down the back straightaway and wait for the pace car to pick them up towards the entrance of turn number 3. Let's take a look at what happened here. Seems like just about every area of the racetrack so far has gotten a little bit of action. The last couple of wrecks have been on the back straightaway. This time was over in the center of 1 and 2.
Oh, it's like there's 34 made and 22, I believe, made contact to start that, and Keith Bynum going for a wild ride afterward.
There was a lot of slicing and dicing going on back there. Brian Schilling was back in that vicinity as well. Put the camera on the 22 of Greg Palmer. Just looked like the 94 there of Dale Shalinsky migrated up the track. It almost had the looks of a tire going down. I'm not sure he did, but there's nowhere for Palmer to go. And then when he bounced off the wall, right back down into traffic. Saw David Shin there as 22 is coasting his way by. We had seen David stay out, get a bonus point for a lap led under the last yellow. Let's take another look at it here. Watch the yellow car in the middle line. Dale Shalinsky. Yeah, that car just never held the middle.
I don't know if he just got really tight right there and got up into Palmer or what there, but
another big wreck and another big miss for Cody Lamas. He's kind of given us a lot of POVs of stuff going on here in the early going. This is another look on board with the 48.
oh my goodness.
That was really weird too. We heard him upshift there after he avoided the wreck. I think he down. Oh, okay. So I think he was in 4th gear, and then as he slowed, he then downshifted to 3rd to try and get momentum back. Okay, that makes sense. Like, I was thinking, did he literally downshift to avoid a wreck? I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that before. But no, he actually downshifted to be able to get back going again after he had lost so much speed slowing for the incident.
I think Cody must have a good luck charm with him or something right now, because man, he's just barely gotten by quite a few incidents already tonight.
Well, he's got the Carvana sponsorship, and there's a halo on that car. So is that like a guardian angel watching over him or something?
That very well could be.
Now more drivers back behind the wall. Looks like Greg Palmer and David Shin have both retired out of the race. That brings our total up to 6 drivers currently not going to reach the conclusion of this one. Kelly Causey's going to stay out when most of the other drivers that he stayed out with are coming down pit lane. We'll see if this is just to, well, I was going to say if this is just to lead a lap, but scoring is showing that he's already previously led a lap, so this is not a bid for a bonus point. I mean, it's the season finale. Championship has pretty much been decided. Why not? Try something unorthodox. Go outside the box. See if the strategy works out.
Absolutely. You know, it's one of the best things about not being in championship contention is you really don't have a whole lot to lose. You can go out there, try some different things, try to pick up some wins.
It's like another driver out of the race. We saw him take that wild barrel roll ride down the banking of turn 2 and into the grass, Keith Bynum. Keith's going to get credited for 27th here this evening. So we still got the lights here on the pace car. Next broadcast we've got on tap here on FRN. We'll be back joining Blaine Donlin, Tarnation TV, bringing you coverage of the continuation of Season 68 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. This coming Thursday night. Green flag going to be flying at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Only 3 races left to go until we end up finding out who our 16, at least 16 chase drivers will be. 7 races in the books. 7 different drivers have gone to victory lane. We've seen a little bit of everything this season, Kyle, and there's still, let's see, what if my math is correct, what's 198 laps, I think, still to be run. So, boy, it's going to really be interesting to see from this point to when we eventually get that final checkered flag of the regular season, who's in, who's out, because the points are still awfully close as well around that cut line.
Yeah, it's been a very exciting season. Always enjoy calling those races. I mean, already this season, we've seen photo finishes, we've seen last lap crashes, we've seen fuel mileage come into play. I mean, you name it, we've already seen it. We haven't even gotten to the chase yet.
And it's going to be a week of Talladega racing, as a week from tonight, we'll be bringing you coverage of the Ron Stowers Memorial at Talladega Superspeedway. Our friends over at Esports Oval League. They'll be running 188 laps, a full-length Talladega race on the iRacing side. That's going to be a wild one. I believe that the green flag is going to fly at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to get confirmation this week as to when the official start time is, but I believe tentatively that's what we were told, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They'll be taking the green flag for that one. Boy, I'll tell you what, they were talking about here tonight, potentially shortening race length for Season 3 of the Premier Talladega Superspeedway Series. I've run a full-length NR race at Talladega. You are exhausted mentally and physically at the end of something like that. And on iRacing, we know that there's a lot more realism, especially with drivers that have rigs and force feedback and everything.
I think the longest race I've ever ran at Talladega was probably 94 laps, and those the Talladega races they used to have, and participated in a couple of those, and I think that was the longest I've ever been in there. I can't imagine doing a full 500-mile length race at Talladega. Just man, that just takes a lot of endurance right there.
Even those 94 lap races you're talking about,
oh yeah,
they were exhausting. So Kelly Causey, as we see, he had that opportunity before the lights went out for 1 to green to dive onto pit road, elects instead to be the control car for this upcoming restart. Chuck McClure will line up to his outside. Rodney Sellens, Tim Anderson, Dennis McCarthy, that's your top 5, with Greg Lovell, Denny Carroll, Nate Balser, Randy Waugh,
Luigi,
and Bob Seminara. Going to be your top 10. We've got 26 drivers still in this race. All 26 are still on the lead lap. 3 cautions so far here tonight. Getting ready for our 3rd restart of the evening. About 10 laps away from halfway as well. Flagman making them wait. Now has the green flag in hand. Causey will get us back underway here at Talladega. And we got a spinner.
Brian Schilling. No caution. Looks like he spun to the inside of the racetrack right there. That's a tough break there for Schilling. But
another car around as well. That's Rick Becker. You see the lights still green around the racetrack. No caution. Those 2 drivers will certainly be hoping to see a future yellow to allow them to catch back up. Didn't really see much of an issue up at the front as far as drivers stacking up like we did on the previous restart, but it looks like there was some issues there mid-pack to rear of the field. As Rodney Sullins getting freight trained on that inside line. Ken Roberts down there with him as well. And it looks like with everybody up there on that middle line, these guys are going to fall back well outside of the top 15.
Man, they got single file in a hurry right there.
You know how they talk about it always just takes that one big wreck to kind of have everybody tone it down, realize, hey, if we're going to win this race, we got to get to the checkered flag first. And I think that's maybe what just happened there. We've had 3 cautions. We've had some massive hits, a couple of barrel rolls. And I think everybody's realizing, all right, we need to settle down a little bit here, get ourselves into a groove, not tear up our equipment. Otherwise, we're not going to be ending out the season on a high note.
And what's the old saying? In order to finish first, you must first finish.
Exactly. Kind of looking back there at a couple of drivers in these first 3 cautions that have sustained pretty significant damage. It looks like for the most part, all of them are going to be able to stay in the draft. Lucy Sandoval had some pretty significant back-end damage. Looks like he's running right behind Sean Turner. I also saw Chris Elliott back there. He took that massive hit back-end first into the inside wall. Looks like he may still be up to speed.
Got a couple cars trying to start a second line here. The 74, Robert Spring. He's got Rodney Sullins right behind him. Ken Roberts is there as well. You got the 26 of Billy Elliser behind them. See if they can make any ground on the outside. There's the 26 going to the inside.
They're going to catch that inside line in a good spot here if Robert Spring can get to the right rear of Randy Wall off of 4. Nope, not quite. That would have been a good spot there. They would have had some good momentum coming off of the corner. There's actually, people may not realize it, but there's actually a bit of a bump, a downhill slope coming off of turn 4 that you can actually gain a little bit of speed from here at Talladega. They could have used that momentum maybe to, there's no side draft in this game, but certainly at least to get alongside of the trailing car of that middle line. Brian Wolf, we talked with him earlier this evening. As a matter of fact, you've actually got him and Ken Roberts there nose to tail, 2 of the admins over here on Saturday nights. Nose to tail, Mark Pagley up there as well, and now they're starting to get some numbers. Billy Elliser's going to jump up there. It almost kind of looked like the 74 of Robert Spring was having difficulty being the lead car, and I wonder if with the 26 of Billy Elliser now, if they would have been able to make something happen, but Rodney Bales in that 3rd line now, he's going to go down to the bottom.
It's like a 17 car pack. They pulled away a little bit there from the 96 of Ulysses Sandoval. Ulysses has a couple of cars behind him.
Angelardi, Cody Lamas. Top 19 right there. 5 of Mike Becker. Long ways back here. That's Cy Jones up there to his outside. I'm not used to seeing Cy Jones in anything but a Sunoco car.
Oh, yeah.
Not sure how to pronounce what he's got on there. Tegamami, something like that. He's also got Canadian Tire on that machine.
At first glance, I thought it was Krispy Kreme, just with the green
I did
and white
too.
right there.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought, see, got Glenn Harris's sponsor, because it literally, I agree with you, it literally looks like the Krispy Kreme car. Dale Shalinsky's had a wild night, involved in a couple of incidents. Sean Turner. And then there's Brian Schilling, and we'll see Rick Becker here in a moment. Those are the two drivers that we saw spun around when they went back green. They have not gotten the caution they needed to bail them out, get them back up here to this lead group yet.
Remember how everyone got single file awfully quickly on that restart?
Who flipped the switch?
Yeah, really.
And it's amazing how things end up working themselves out. On the initial start of this race, two drivers ended up getting put in the sucker hole in the middle going to the back. They're leading the respective lines right now. Causey on the top, Anderson on the bottom.
It's funny how things come full circle sometimes and paying off nicely here, especially for Kelly Causey. He is out in front.
There you see the Green Bay Packers Toyota of Rick Becker going to go a lap down. Ryan Schilling's not that far up ahead. Here you see him about maybe halfway, maybe 2/3 of the way down the back straightaway. He's only carrying about maybe 180, 182 miles per hour single car speed. This thundering herd is at certain portions of the racetrack hitting 200 plus.
Yeah, Schilling's up to speed, not damaged or anything, but this goes to show you when you're running by yourself compared to a big pack of cars, how big of a disadvantage you're really at.
Comes Brian Wolf down the inside line. In front of the 33 of Tim Anderson, so now he'll be the lead car on the bottom. And just looking in terms of who's turned the fastest lap overall here tonight, that would be the 931 of Robert Breedlove, 47.502, equating to 201.396 miles per hour.
Now Bob Simonera steps out of line, goes to the inside. He's going to be side by side with Dennis McCarthy for the third spot. Needs a little bit of help on that bottom, waiting for Brian Wolf to get up there. As they put Brian Schilling a lap down, now Rodney Sollins had thoughts of going to the outside, gets back in line.
I think what he was doing right there, I don't think he was actually trying to make a move there on Dennis McCarthy. What he was trying to do was give the 62 of Brian Schilling a little bit of draft, a little bit of toe, pull the RPMs and the speed of that race car up so that way when he got to the tail end of this lead pack, he'd be able to stay in the draft. And it looks like it might work. And he and Rick Becker, they're going to be in a bit of a fight there. I believe that over here on Saturday nights as well, that there are two lucky dogs per caution. Right now, Schilling and Becker are the only two that are off the lead lap. So they are occupying those free pass spots. But we did see that there were about, a half dozen drivers way back behind the lead pack. A couple of those drivers damaged and off the pace. If they end up getting caught in, that's going to make things a lot more interesting than that lucky dog battle. I also just realized, too, there are three drivers that actually want that caution to come out. The two lap cars and Kelly Causey, because if we continue to trend green, he's going to have to pit a lot sooner than a bunch of the other drivers because he was the only one who didn't pit under the last caution period.
And he's been the leader since the restart, so using up even more fuel. Got to be thinking it's been very caution heavy so far in the first half of this race. Thinking it's probably going to continue, but we're in a nice green flag run right now.
Yeah, we went back green on the completion of lap 23 onto 24. So for most of the drivers here in the field, they're about maybe, I'd say 7 laps away from when they'd have to pit. For Kelly Causey, now granted, he could have saved a lot under those pacing laps, but there's still going to be a couple of laps in it difference of how far he can go in comparison to the rest of the field behind him. I would put him probably, I'll be generous and say maybe 5 more laps that he can go before he's going to absolutely have to pit. So now the question is, would Kelly Causey be able to lobby to some of the drivers behind him, hey, I know that you could go a little bit further on fuel here to get inside of a window, but I need drafting help. Would you be willing to come down pit road with me here? We can have a nice little maybe 4, 5, 6 car pack and see if we can then cycle up to the field when everybody else has to pit.
That's a really good question. I mean, it's worth a shot, you know. I don't even know if it would benefit him if it were to go green the rest of the way with him being off sync like that.
I think that when we went back green, everybody was going to have to make at least 2 more trips to pit road. I'm honestly pretty certain that even the drivers that pit under that caution, they're still going to have to pit twice. So I don't think there's really a whole lot to lose if drivers elect to come down and pit on the same lap as Kelly Causey. The only difference is on that final pit stop doesn't make a difference, because I think we're talking somewhere in the range of taking on a half can to taking on a full can. A fuel can, a full can, it's the same thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Heard that idling engine up ahead. That's Sean Turner on the tail end of the lead lap. I just now noticed, looking at his back bumper, I incorrectly identified him as a Toyota earlier on tonight. That's a Lexus, actually.
Really? Well, that's... The number of different templates with this mod is absolutely incredible. Some manufacturers I never even imagined would be possible, you know, for this style of car, but here we are.
Turner's going to get put a lap down there. Now it's going to be a 3-way battle for the Lucky Dog spots between himself, Schilling, and Rick Becker. And may add
Kelly
more
Causey
drivers
came
into
to
that
pit
as
road.
well.
Hands lead over to Chuck McClure.
So nobody else came down with Kelly Causey. He's going to be a sitting duck, and I think it's going to be very difficult for him if we continue to trend green, even when these drivers all hit pit road, for him to find himself back up in the lead pack once the cycle is complete. He will more than likely fall a lap down to the leaders before they have to make the dive onto pit road, which will be within the next 2 to 3 laps. We've had 3 cautions already here tonight, so this will be the first time this evening in tonight's finale that these drivers would make green flag pit stops. And Chuck McClure now out in front. That was his 10th lap led when he crossed the start finish line. The scenario that we gave earlier this evening where Chuck would have to lead the most laps, that was negated when Kelly Causey was out in front. He led 17 laps, so Chuck McClure would have to lead at least 8 more laps in order to counter that. And I think he's pitting this time. We see a number of drivers going up the racetrack here. Oh, never mind.
There are some cars coming to pit road, though. About a half a dozen or so.
Boy, really aggressive entry there for the
Denny
21 of rating.
Carroll,
Wow, he almost was in the back of Robert Breedlove.
Denny Carroll, our unofficial champion, leading this group down pit road.
It's another thing for Denny Carroll with this season. Obviously, you got to execute on the racetrack to be consistent, but you got to execute on pit road for green flag pit stops as well. Obviously, he's checked those boxes.
Well, we see this group come down pit road this time. Yep, here comes McClure, Seminara, Anderson.
Pretty much that
Everybody else.
entire lead pack. Kelly Causey stays out. Obviously, he pitted a couple of laps ago, so this is the entire rest of the lead group all coming to pit road together, about a dozen drivers in total.
So Causey's not terribly out of sync with everybody else, just still could use a timely caution here.
Yeah, the problem for him is this lap right here. Now, this is going to help him. He's going to get up to the back bumper of Billy Elliser. That's Mike Mangialardi just up ahead. I think they just concluded their pit stops. This is what he needed. He needed draft on this lap to hopefully have him up there with McClure, Seminara, Sullins, and others once they leave pit road. See if he can get it done here. So it's a nice little trio that have gotten themselves up to speed. There's Balzer coming off of pit lane. There's most of these leaders. Like
Seminara gets out ahead of Chuck McClure on that pit stop.
Yep. Red and black car back there. Denny Carroll leading that group of about 4 or 5 that pitted the lap prior. They are up to speed. But now that group that they're trying to get around, they're starting to get up to full song as well. Wow, look at the push there.
33 and the 880. Man, they got an incredible run right there on the 17 and the 712. Blew right on by him. So Tim Anderson will go to the lead now. Here comes Ken Roberts on the bottom. He's got help from Mark Pagula right there in the 28.
Brian Wolf down there also. And just like that, we've got ourselves about 2 or 3 rows of 3-wide racing again up in this lead group. But Tim Anderson, first time that he's going to be out in front in this race tonight after starting from the outside of the front row. Lovell into second. Seminara currently going to run in the 3rd position. Clear for 4th, and then they're 3-wide, double-wide, 3-wide, 5th place on back. It does not look like Kelly Causey and his group were able to get up there to that lead pack. Quartet of them there with Mangialardi, Elliser, Robert Spring, and Causey. Scoring last time by showing this group about 5.5 seconds behind the lead group. And tough break, another driver with a mechanical failure here tonight. Ulysses Sandoval just brought his 096 down pit road a lap ago. Made the left-hand turn to the garage area. Second driver with an engine gearbox problem tonight.
Man, that's... second or third problem that we've seen with the gearbox. Not sure what's going on with that tonight. That's awfully strange to see, maybe 3 drivers with the same issue. Of course, Sandoval was damaged in one of our earlier cautions. I don't know if that played a role in that or not.
Could very well have. Of course, as well, we just finished the green flag pit stop cycle. There's a lot of downshifting, upshifting when you're getting ready to get into your pit stall, leaving your pit stall. So Ulysses is going to finish out tonight's finale 26th. After this cycle of pit stops, 25 drivers still running and 22 on the lead lap. That number may shrink as there's a few drivers not that far up the road. For leader Tim Anderson, Dave Shalinski is only about 16 seconds ahead of the race leader, and that interval is dwindling fast. Cy Jones is just up ahead of Shalinski. And then you got a duo of Mike Becker and Chris Elliott. They're about half a lap down right now. So as things continue to trend green, more and more drivers are running into jeopardy of potentially falling off the lead lap here under green flag conditions.
See Chuck McClure making a move there. He goes to the inside of Bob Seminara. He's got help from the 28. Rodney Sollins in the 38 also there as well, but outside line gets a good push right there, and they're going to fall back a little bit. Now Seminara jumps to the inside. He's going to make a move here for the 2nd spot with help from McClure.
I was just checking of the drivers that took the green flag here tonight that are all former winners on the season. Only one of them is not up in this lead group, that being pole sitter Nate Balser. Nate has fallen all the way back to the 18th position. I believe he's actually running all by himself with no draft. But there's a bunch of drivers up here that have the opportunity of joining Chuck McClure and ending off the season as a multi-time winner. McClure is in this group, but so too are Cody Lamas, Denny Carroll, Rodney Sullins, Mark Paglia, and Bob Seminara, who we saw make that move from bottom to top there in front of Ken Roberts.
It's a battle for the third spot right now. It's the 33 and the 880 clear of this group.
Really tight there off of turn 2, near contact between McClure and Seminara as they battle for third spot. Denny Carroll just kind of hanging at the back of this group, currently just inside of the top 10, looking to cap off what's been an incredible season. I think that one thing that we have not talked about that definitely bears discussing is the numbers that Denny Carroll has been able to accumulate in these 10 races. You and I remember a few seasons ago where we talked about the almost near impossibility of finishing top 10 every single week, and Brian Schilling managed to do that for 10 weeks straight during the regular season. For Denny Carroll, 9 races so far this season, 1 trip to victory lane, 6 top 5s, 9 top 10s. Never finished a race outside of the top 10, and he's looking to go a perfect 10 for 10 in top 10 finishes here this season.
That's how you win a championship when when there's no playoffs or anything, or it's just season long. Whoever has the most points at the end of the season gets the championship. That's how it's done right there. Talk about a model of consistency. That's been Denny Carroll this season.
Now we've seen here tonight, we've seen massive wrecks, we've seen mechanical failures. There are so many ways that things can go wrong in a super speedway race, and the fact that Denny has been able to not only find the consistency but avoid all those gremlins that other drivers have during the course of these first 9 races is incredible in and of itself. And
given that you've had a really good sized field for every race from what we've been told too, so at least 30 some, I would say at least 30 cars in every field if I had to make a guess there. So yeah, that just makes it even more impressive.
Yeah, 52 drivers over the course of the first 9 races have taken a green flag this season. And to your point, yes, 30 plus racers every single week. So it's a tough task, and Denny Carroll has been able to rise to the occasion. And right now, I think 41 is currently in chill mode. I don't think that we're going to see him lay back there when the pay window starts to open. He wants to end out the season with a second checkered flag, but I think for right now he's just content to observe, see what's in front of him, and he's in a really good spot right now. Unofficially, scoring has him in the 10th position.
Yeah, get that final pit stop out of the way, then it'll be time to go racing after that.
And that final pit stop, it's not that far away. Most everybody up here, based off of when they last pitted, they're probably going to be on pit lane within the next 8 to 10 laps. Putting us right around, I think more than likely everybody's going to have to go with a full can of fuel to make it. There may be some gamblers that try and go with the half can and maybe see if they can have enough to just sputter coming out of the tri-oval. But I think more than likely everybody's just going to have to take on the full can of fuel here. More than likely we won't see anybody take any tires and then just race it out from there. Question is, though, how many drivers are going to have in the lead pack when all is said and done, because so many times we'll end up seeing about 2/3, half the field after a pit stop cycle than what we had before the cycle began.
And we've seen on Thursday nights how critical that final round of green flag pit stops can be. We've seen a lot of mistakes this season over there, and I'm sure that's, I'm sure there's a lot of pressure on everybody, coming to make that final stop in any race situation like that.
Very nearly didn't have to talk about green flag pit stops as Ken Roberts got squirrely through the tri-oval. Might have gotten a little assistance from Dennis McCarthy, but did a great job of saving that car. Oh, there he goes. bumper grabbed off McCarthy up into Breedlove, gets Brian Schilling, and that's the caution that I think everybody was looking for, because now they won't have to make the pit stop under green.
Well, all this talk about green flag stops, well, forget about that.
Yep, it's out the window.
Another guy that's happy to see that is Kelly Causey. He talked about the different strategy he's been on tonight. That'll allow him to pit with everybody, and everybody will be good to go on fuel.
Bunch of other drivers too that more than likely would have fallen a lap down if we continue to trend green. That this saves Matt Becker, Chris Elliott, Nate Balser, the pole sitter. Now, one thing that will be interesting to kind of follow up here, Brian Schilling involved in the wreck. He was, at the time of the incident, running in one of the lucky dog positions. Cy Jones was in the other. I'm not certain being involved in this wreck if he is going to be eligible for the free pass or not. I want to take this all the way back to the tri-oval. They were really trying to get this inside line going. Dennis McCarthy was given several good shots to the back of Ken Roberts, and right here you're going to see him get to the back bumper through the tri-oval. Left sides actually went down below the yellow line. Ken able to hang on to it, and it just kind of seemed like, I don't want to say desperation, but it definitely seemed like these drivers on the inside line were of the thought process, we got to start pushing, we got to start shoving if we're going to make forward momentum here against that top line.
I got a couple of bumps there from the 24, and like you said, it looked like there was a little bit of bumper grab on that last one right there, and that's what collected everybody in this wreck.
And McCarthy got a pretty decent run actually out of the corner. As we go on board, you'll see them through the center of 1 and 2. There's a little bit of space. And then watch how it closes up here, and he gets to him coming off of the turn. Yeah, he bumper grabbed off of him. I thought the 55 maybe got a little squirrely from the bump, but no, it was just a slight unevenness of the back bumper of the 55 to the front bumper of the 024 that eventually sends him up, and Breedlove had nowhere to go. Same for Brian Schilling.
I don't think anybody really got any damage in this wreck, though. So that's good news for everybody involved there. Might not be good news for Brian Schilling. I'm sure if he'll still be able to get the free pass, like you said, after being involved in a caution or not. But could have been a lot worse for everybody.
And we'll keep tabs on that. Looks like Dennis McCarthy is actually retired from the race, and somebody else has actually just had an issue. Looks like more mechanical gremlins, this time for our pole sitter, Nate Balser. We'll see if we can pinpoint exactly when this happened. Oh, this was actually when they were coming back to, I think this was to receive the yellow flag. He was in a group of about 5, and right there you see him lose touch with him. Yeah. No smoke, no nothing. Nate, who we'd mentioned, started this race from the pole, won the first race of the season. And now with Dennis McCarthy also out of the race, that brings our total up to, I believe, 10 drivers. Nope, correction, 11 drivers out of the race. So there is Cy Jones coming to pit lane. Number of other drivers who got trapped a lap down here prior to this caution coming out. I believe, as we saw there watching what happened to Nate Balser, that we were at the point of the race where any caution is raced back. So I think that based off of Lucky Dog rules, it would have been the first 2 drivers who crossed the start-finish line 1 lap down. And I think that those 2 drivers were both Brian Schilling and Cy Jones. So I think those are going to be the two lucky dog drivers here. We'll again wait and see for confirmation, though Brian Schilling staying out here almost makes me wonder if Cy Jones is the only lucky dog recipient and Schilling is taking a wave around. I thought they had two lucky dogs here on Saturday nights. Maybe they only have the one.
That's a big gamble if Brian Schilling is not a lucky dog. Taking a wave around, still need to make another pit stop. I mean, we've seen him pull off some amazing fuel mileage in various series, but I don't think he can go that far here in this one.
Yeah, because Schilling was involved in that wreck, went for a spin, so I would think he would certainly want to put some fresh tires on that car. And so he would have pit on the same lap as Cy Jones and been lined up on that outside line like the 07 is. So, yeah, I think he's taking a wave around. I guess it's only one lucky dog in this series. Schilling's going to find himself, more than likely, I think... Well, he's going to need a quick yellow, pretty much. I think he probably will be able to go about 2 laps, and then he's going to have to come to pit road here. He cannot make it on fuel. Everybody else can. So we should get the lights out on the pace car this time by. Cy Jones will get around the pace car to get his lap back. Brian Schilling will take the wave around. That will have us with 20 drivers on the lead lap. Chuck McClure will resume the spot behind the pace car as the race leader here, with Bob Seminara alongside of him. Then Rodney Sullins, Mark Paglia, Randy Waugh,
Luigi.
Denny Carroll, Tim Anderson, Brian Wolf, Greg Lovell, Cody Lamas is going to be your top 10. This restart will take place with 8 laps to go. Championship all but decided here. Denny Carroll, incredible season. Right now in the 6th position. Chuck McClure has done just about everything he can do. He has now led the most laps. That last lap is 18th, eclipsing Kelly Causey's 17. But even if he wins this race, too many cars back in the garage area. The worst position that Denny Carroll could finish here tonight, if he were to park right now, would be 22nd. That would not be enough points for Chuck McClure to make up to take the championship away from Denny. So now it's just basically everybody trying to end out the season as best they can. All hunting that checkered flag for several of these guys up here at the front, looking for their second, for Chuck McClure, his 3rd checkered flag on the season. But there's a bunch of other guys back there that want to play spoiler and join the 8 previous winners on the season. Got Randy there, Tim, Greg. We talked with Bryant earlier on tonight, said, hey, come on, it's a super speedway. Anything can happen. Go out there, win this thing. I think he's taking it to heart. He's up here with a shot at this thing.
Up there on the lead lap here, so stayed out of trouble all night, so he definitely has a shot at this thing.
Kelly Causey, who you mentioned, got bailed out with that yellow flag. Back up here, just outside of the top 10. Got a shot at this thing. See what happens in these final 8 laps of racing tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. Good launch there for McClure. Going to get a good push from Sullins behind. Paglia trying to push the 712 of Seminara on that top side, but McClure will find himself clear into turn 1.
Looks like that inside line a little bit more organized. McClure clear to the lead. Him and Sullins are going to move up in front of Bob Seminara. Going to open the door for Randy Waugh on the bottom.
Luigi.
Yes. Got Tim Anderson right behind him.
Just keeping an eye towards the tail end of the pack there. That's 62 of Brian Schilling. Just how far can he actually go before he's going to have to make the dive onto pit road? He would have loved to have seen a caution that lap right there. That would have helped him out a ton. Top 4 on the outside, winners all. Drivers on the inside, all looking for their first win on the season.
Getting a third line.
Whoa!
Oh, Tim Anderson goes around.
Caution's gonna wave. Look out! Ooh! Nowhere for Rick
Still
Becker to go.
wrecking.
Brian Wolf, big hit into that inside Armco barrier. They're still wrecking further up here. Sean Turner is getting his car looped back in the right direction. Ken Roberts.
There's the caution that Schilling needed.
Yes, sir. Looked like it was about the 4th position where that contact took place. I think the lead car on the inside line might have gotten into the trailing car on the outside line there. It might have been the 21 and the 28 that got together, actually. That stacked him up behind. And Tim Anderson, a couple of others got the worst of it. Just we'll take you back, see what happened here. So keep an eye here as they're making their way into turn 3. Watch the 21 on the bottom, the 28 on the top. And I think there might be some contact actually between Mark and Randy that leads to the checkup.
Maybe. Can't tell if he bumper grabbed off the 21 or not there, but. Or just a big stack up, like you said.
You know what that reminded me of? We had an incident this past Thursday night where somebody got a late bump going into the corner and it kind of pushed them up the track. They weren't able to hold the bottom. That kind of felt like deja vu.
Oh,
Watch
yeah.
here again, this tight draft, this tight formation between the 21, the 33, and the 880. And watch how it kind of, when they get into the entry of the corner, it kind of pushes the 21 a little up the track there. He lifts out of the throttle to make sure he doesn't get into the 28, and the bumpers are just too close, and around goes Anderson.
A big shot in the back end of that car right there as well by like Green Bay Packers car. I forget what number that is, but
And here's a look at Brian Wolf. Almost got through. So too did Cody Lamas. Ken Roberts nowhere to go. Mike Mangialardi might have also gotten a piece of it in the 029. We saw Bryant just barely get clipped in the left rear. Here's the camera focused on Cody, who also almost got through. Oh, he actually, Denny Carroll went up the track, got him in the left front. He bounced off the wall. Chris Elliott down there on the inside line, little Tokyo drift. I can't believe that car, no back end, fuel cell exposed. He's still on the lead lap, and he just slipped by a bunch of drivers and crossed the line, I think, in 11th place.
he's probably taken the hardest hit of anyone tonight, and you would think it would be a struggle, but he's done an incredible job to stay up here.
I mean, watch this. All the way to the bottom. Little contact with Ken Roberts. There's Mangialardi across his nose, and then slide up the banking, and it's fine.
A lot of right side damage to the 48 of Cody Lamas. He got the wall pretty good there. See, that right side is totally pancaked.
Mike Becker did a good job getting through that wreck also. Here's a look at how Ken got involved. Yeah, just that little clip there to Chris Elliott sends him around. I thought Robert Spring got involved, but he actually got it on the brakes there. No contact with the 55. Oh, and then what in the world?
Becker went for quite a ride there. Didn't see what caused that.
So we saw Becker have the late hit to Tim Anderson when he came back down the racetrack, and then as he's getting the car back up through the gears, oh, he wheel spun it. He wheel spun it, and then as it's going up the track, it counterweighted, and he's lucky that thing didn't go over onto its roof.
Wow, that looked really innocent right there. You wouldn't expect for that to be the outcome.
Well, this caution is going to give us a shootout. Question is, how many laps are we going to get? They just crossed the line for 4 laps to go. If we get the lights out next time by, it'll be a green-white checkered. If the lights stay on, we're more than likely looking at a 1-lap shootout. These drivers aren't even doubling up yet, so I think they think there's going to be at least 1 more lap of caution before we get the 1 to green. And there are a bunch of drivers up here, as I mentioned. They've already formally gone to victory lane. So I don't think that this is a case of, I'll be willing to push you to a win here now, like it might have been towards the beginning of the season. Now it is going to be literally every man for himself, because this is it. When the new season starts, everybody starts at 0 points. There's no championship up for grabs here, just a checkered flag, and we know a racer's mentality when it comes to Superspeedway racing, and really it's the final race of the season with no points battle going on.
Yeah, just bring back the steering wheel or the trophy, essentially, and suiting up here for, like you said, a 2-lap shootout, a green-white checkered, whatever you want to call it. Interestingly enough, I had just finished watching the 1993 Winston 500 at Talladega. That race ended in a 2-lap shootout, and it ended with Rusty Wallace flipping wildly on the front stretch after he crossed the finish line in, I believe, the 6th position. So, boy, I hope that's not an omen for things to come here in the finish of this race.
We don't have a 2-car in the field, so that's at least a good start.
Yeah. Don't see a Miller Lite sponsorship anywhere, or a Miller Genuine Draft in this case.
Speaking of 2, we saw those 2 Lucky Dog drivers go around, Rick Becker, Sean Turner. So all 22 drivers that are still running will all be on the lead lap here for this final restart, which will indeed be a green-white checkered. Chuck McClure, who's the only multi-time winner on the season, won races 5 and 7. Rodney Sullins took the checkered flag right in between race number 6, of course, coming off that victory this past Thursday night in the Talladega Challenge Series. Bob Seminara, the most recent winner, race number 9. The driver alongside of him precursed him the week prior in race number 8, Mark Paglia. So you have the previous 5 races winners in the top 4 here for this restart. And then you could just go back there to 5th place and get race number 4 winner, Denny Carroll. So pretty good odds here that we're going to have another multi-time winner on the season if they can topple Chuck McClure, who may be the only multi-time winner on the season.
And here I thought the odds were looking pretty good to get yet another different winner here for the final race of the season. But,
Same.
Things have really changed here. It's not impossible, but the odds are looking good for a repeat winner here.
So that's your top 5. Kelly Causey, Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
How about Billy Elliser? Going to restart in the 8th position. Greg Lovell and Matt Becker, who we saw have a great avoidance of that last wreck there over in 3 and 4, going to be your top 10 for this final restart of the night. Well, we said at beginning of the evening with the championship pretty much already clinched. Tonight was going to be very similar mentality as a race to kick off the season. Bring home the trophy or bring home the steering wheel. Who will bring home what here at the end of these 2 laps? Green flag in the air. Question now is, can they make it back to the white flag?
Chuck McClure got a great restart. A little bit of a stack up on that outside line, it looked like, and McClure took advantage of that. Looks like Seminara's going to be clear of Sullins for the 2nd spot. And now Seminara looking to the inside of Chuck McClure for the race lead, getting a good push there from Denny Carroll.
Denny Carroll, 6 top 5s in the first 9 races of the season, looking for a 7th here to cap off this incredible championship run. Maybe looking for his second victory himself here as they'll be knotted side by side. About 5 rows deep here off of turn 4, coming around to receive the white. Who can push the best? Who can be organized the best? White flag in the air. It was McClure by a splitter there at the white flag.
McClure getting a good push from Rodney Sullins. There, the 38. You see the 41 still in the back bumper. The 712.
Got one around back there. I think that might have been Brian Wolf. Robert Spring going to hit the inside wall a ton. We continue to race back to the checkers, though.
McClure able to clear Seminara, going to open the door for Sullins on the outside.
They lost energy in that top line there. Sullins now back side by side with Denny Carroll for third. Does Seminara have something for McClure here? Goes high, goes low, not enough of a run. Through the tri-oval, Sullins up the racetrack, saves it. Causey around, but Chuck McClure will end season 2 as a 3-time winner. That's the good news. The bad news is the driver he was trying to run down for the championship also finished this race on the podium. Denny Carroll will bring it home in the 3rd position to wrap up an incredible championship season. What a battle there at the end. Chuck McClure, what an incredible second half of the season for him. Winning 3 of the last 6 races. The only driver that will be able to claim multi-time winner here in the 2nd season of the Premier Talladega Superspeedway Series. 3 victories to the 1 victory accomplished by 7 other drivers. And obviously, there's that question of what if? What if the points had been just a little bit closer? Chuck did everything he needed to do tonight. He led a lap. He led the most laps, 27 circuits out in front, and he closed out the evening with the checkered flag. The problem was 36 points was just too insurmountable an odds. The attrition helped Denny Carroll. And Denny just continued to do what he's done all season. Remain consistent, be there at the end. Podium finish to close it out. We'll be talking with him as well as Chuck McClure and Bob Seminara, who almost was able to find a way around Chuck McClure there on that final lap. Your podium drivers here in just a moment on the post-race wind-down. Let's take a look at the finishing results here from this race. Chuck McClure going to bring it home with the victory. Seminara in 2nd. 3rd will go to Denny Carroll. Randy Waugh will bring it home in 4th. 5th for Greg Lovell. Mark Paglia, Rodney Sullins, Chris Elliott, Billy Elliser, and Cody Lamas will battle back for a top 10 finish. Saw Kelly Causey, he got spun around there through the tri-oval. Coming back to the checkered flag, he slid across the line 11th. Cy Jones in 12th. Breedlove, Mangialardi, Ken Roberts, your top 15. Brian Schilling in 16th. And I believe most of these drivers that finished 17th on down were involved in that incident off of turn 2 on the back straightaway. Spring, Mike and Rick Becker both. Sean Turner and Brian Wolf going to be the finishers here tonight. 21 drivers finishing this race. The rest of these drivers finished back behind the wall. Tim Anderson, Dennis McCarthy, Nate Balser, who started on the pole. Dale Shalinski, Ulysses Sandoval, Keith Bynum, Greg Palmer, David Chin, Craig Hagley, Jeffrey Elliott, Brian Rawson, and David Little. A few of those drivers' mechanical issues here tonight, ending their evenings. What a wild race here tonight to cap off the season finale. A champion has been crowned. And we will now head into our FRN post-race wind-down and dial up our podium finishers here tonight that saw a little bit of everything. Some wild wrecks, green flag pit stops, and a crazy finish to boot. Let's get a hold first. We're going to do things a little out of order here. We're going to go second place race winner and then champion who brought it home in third. So let's see if we can dial up the driver of the 712, Bob Seminara.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, Bob, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
Whoa, what's going on, Seth? Kyle?
Hey, first off, a little unusual for us to see you out there in differing colors, so that took a little bit of getting used to, but still appeared that the 712 was just as fast in these colors as opposed to the red and white. Had a shot to win this thing. We saw you make that move, stay to the inside off of turn 2 when you guys ended up taking the green flag for this final restart. Got alongside of Chuck there, then lost a little bit of ground and tried sizing him up through the tri-oval. Anything you could have done there through the tri-oval, because we saw a couple of fake-out moves. It just didn't look like the momentum was there.
Yeah, I didn't think I had the momentum, and Denny probably wouldn't have went with me, so I just did what I could. Yeah, I was hoping down the backstretch I would have had a little help. I don't know what was going on, who was in my line there. I know Denny was pushing good, but yeah, I did all I could do. Chuck deserved that.
It's interesting, we were talking about on that final restart, we obviously knew that the championship had pretty much all been decided by the time you guys took the green flag, and it was pretty much decided there on that final restart. You and the other 4 drivers in the top 5 comprised race winners from the last 6 races this season. So you guys all knew how to get it done. You guys really didn't have anything to lose. And there was really nothing you had to worry about as far as points. Does that put more pressure on a driver, or does that make it more fun there for that 2-lap shootout?
Yeah, I didn't know all that, but yeah, I won last week, so this is, I think, only my 4th race, so, and I had a second. So I was just going for the win and just trying not to cause any trouble.
So you mentioned about this being only your 4th race here. Obviously did not run the full season. You had that victory, as you documented last week, a podium finish here tonight to follow that up. We running full time next season, running for the championship. Can this give you some good momentum towards that?
Yeah, I don't know. I may do that. I like what Kenny has set up here, and yeah, if I could start from the beginning, I may commit to it.
Well, Bob, a great run for you here this evening. We saw you be able to have that car out in front for a good portion of this race as well. Bring it home solidly on the podium here this evening. Congratulations on a job well done to close out this season. 1 week removed from parking it in victory lane. Let's turn it now over to you for some thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Yeah, thank you guys. I know you're FRN and Tarnation TV tonight. Yeah, I'd like to thank David Chin, who puts a lot up here for this, and Redline Performance Racing Products, of course, Rodney Solon's Paints, Kenny and Wolfie, they, I believe, are running this thing, and I know there's a lot of guys that help out. Bernie's Paints is my deal, and Mops Motors, and you know me, Thursday night. But I had fun tonight, and I appreciate everybody. Good racing.
Well, as Bob Seminara got so close to winning back-to-back to close out the season, but a win last week, a second here tonight. Great exclamation point to cap off season number 2 of the Premier Talladega Series. Congratulations, Bob, on a great run here tonight. And yeah, best of luck next season if we see you running full time.
Yeah, Shadows on Fire, too. I forgot, on Spotify. All right. I'll see you next week.
Absolutely. That's Bob Seminara. Second place here tonight. We'll, of course, be seeing him next Thursday night as well, as he's trying to keep himself up there in the hunt for a chase spot. Let's see if we can now get a hold of our race winner all the way down to victory lane. 3rd time that he has been in victory lane this season. Let's see if we can get a hold of Chuck McClure.
User was moved to
Hey,
your
Chuck,
channel.
it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy.
How you doing?
Now, I'll tell you what, this is a 10-race season. It's a bit shorter in comparison to a lot of other series that are out there, and you managed to go to victory lane not once, not twice, but 3 separate times here this season. 3 victories over the course of the last 6 races. I know you would have wanted to win that championship. You did just about everything you had to do here on your end. I kind of brought up this question about, what if the points gap was a little bit closer coming into tonight? Was that at all on your mind during the course of this race, or were you thinking, you know what? I'm the only multi-time winner here this season. I want to keep things that way.
Yeah, I once I seen a couple guys drop out, I knew what the point lead was, and it was pretty much over. But I was hoping it to be close. And, yeah, I wanted that third win just to show him. Hats off to him, though. He done a heck of a job. It's hard to make up anything on a guy that's finishing top fives, top tens every week.
I mentioned this to Bob just moments ago. He wasn't aware of the situation. I don't know if you were, but yourself and the rest of the top five coming to that green-white checkered, you accounted for the last 6 race victories this season. So all of you were still trying to get those checkered flags to, in your case, be a 3-time winner, for the rest of them be a 2-time winner. Did you know that that was the situation and what kind of a dogfight it was going to be in those final couple of laps?
I knew it'd be a dogfight. No, I didn't know what you just told me there. Yeah, that's even makes it even more special. I had a lot of help tonight, though. I got to say, Mark and 712 helped me out when he could. 38, the 62. They all just was tremendously pushing me, and I think they wanted to make it close. But like I said, it's hard to make it close, and that guy's finishing top fives every week.
So with that being said, looking forward to next season. You're going to be going in with 3 victories this season, going in with the momentum of being the last driver to go to victory lane. Is there anything looking back at this season that you kind of maybe make adjustments to for next season? So that way, by the time we end up getting to that finale, you're the one that's in the situation where everybody's chasing you to try and wrestle the championship away.
Yeah, there was some pretty bad early races I had getting in wrecks and whatnot, and just either being around the wrong people for me or doing dumb things myself. And yeah, I'm going to try to work on that. And maybe if you just had a couple more races.
Well, Chuck, congratulations. Your 3rd trip to victory lane this season. Hard-fought victory tonight. Led the most laps as well. Congratulations on a job well done. Again, I know you would have liked that championship, but certainly not a season to hang your head on statistically. Only multi-time winner on the season as well. And we'll let you get back to that celebrating in a minute. But first, the floor is yours for victory lane thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
Well, first off, Rodney painted a car. I love that car. I run it everywhere I can, and he helped push me. Mark Paglia did, Bob Seminara, Rodney Solins again pushing me, Brian Schilling, Parts Barn. They pay for this, and I really appreciate them guys going out of their way to do this. And David Chin, everybody at Marshall County Schools that I work for, and of course you guys. I love watching these things. And congratulations to Denny. He earned it. He spanked me, and I respect him for it.
Well, that's Chuck McClure, 3-time winner this season. Caps off the season with another trip to victory lane. Congratulations once again, and hey, best of luck trying to ride this momentum into season 3 and make another push for that championship.
Appreciate it, Seth.
Chuck McClure, your race winner
User
here
was moved out
tonight.
of your
He will
channel.
finish out the season 2nd in the overall standings, but the driver that came in, the consistency gave him the cushion, and he brings a podium for the season finale here tonight to cap the championship off. Let's dial up the Season 2 Premier Talladega Superspeedway Series champion, Denny Carroll.
User was moved to your
Hey, Denny,
channel.
it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
Yeah.
Well, man, we talk about all the time. Superspeedway racing may be one of the toughest type of tracks and track configurations and point systems, what have you, to be able to remain consistent. I read off your stats coming into tonight, but adding tonight's top 5 finish, 7 top 5s, 10 top 10s in 10 races, with a trip to victory lane included. That's a near perfect season by Superspeedway standards. How were you able to do that? There had to have been some kind of a system you were able to figure out to not only make sure that you were able to avoid the trouble, the carnage that we know that Talladega brings, but make sure that you're up there at the end for these solid runs.
It wasn't easy. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to drive my car when you get caught up in something or something happens, because if you just let your car go where it wants to, you're usually pretty much done. So if I get caught up in a wreck or get hit or spun, or I try to drive my car and make sure I don't hit anything else. That helps a lot, because wrecks happen and you're going to get caught up in one here and there. You just got to try to make it come out of it with the least amount of damage as possible.
So I know you obviously were aware of the point situation coming into tonight. Chuck McClure trying to make a late season push to take the championship from you. Kyle and I were kind of bouncing back and forth what your initial thought process was from the drop of the green flag here tonight. You qualified well, 11th position, but kind of in the middle of the pack. What with that positioning was your initial thought? Were you planning to just stay up there at the front and hope that the carnage happened behind? Maybe hang back a little bit, see what happened in front of you? Did you have a game plan at the drop of the green?
Yeah, win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to win it. I wanted to be the two-time winner with Chuck, but he moved it up to 3.
Well, you were up there inside of the top 5 for that final restart in the conversation for this victory. Obviously, a couple rows back from that front row, so a lot has to happen in front of you for the C's to part. But did you see anything up there that happened that maybe you could have been able to be up alongside of somebody there and get that victory you're talking about?
No, I got boxed in. I just couldn't get to the front tonight. I mean, I could get up to 3rd. I might have got to 2nd. Well, I just could not get to the lead. I tried. I just couldn't do it.
So with the season you had here, the consistency, being able to find victory lane, is there something that you can kind of dial back to next season to try and defend this championship, or do you think it's going to be a completely different landscape?
Well, I had a good season like this last season too, but I got had an incident and got parked like next to the last race, which cost me the whole thing. But so I came back and redeemed myself.
Well, redeem yourself. You did. Congratulations, Denny. Again, incredible season. The stats, I look at them, I don't believe them because of knowing just how unpredictable Superspeedway races are. But 10 top 10s in these 10 races. The trip to victory lane as well. And what a way to cap off the season as well with a solid podium run here tonight. Put you down in championship victory lane. And we'll let you get back to that celebrating here in just a moment. But first, floor is yours. You know what to do. Thank you, sponsors, shout outs. It's all yours, Denny.
All right, thanks, guys. I'd just like to thank Ken for the series. I love racing here on Saturdays, and thank Bryant Motorsports and Brown Wolf and all the guys that here and put this together. And Chuck, I really enjoyed racing with Chuck this year. He's a great driver, great racer, and I think, just one little thing had happened to me, it would have been Chuck's. Just thank God and everybody that watches these races, and you guys for putting it on, and hopefully we can race with them next season and they don't switch it to a chase.
Well, Denny Carroll, the model of consistency this season, and that will net him the championship here in Season 2 of the All-Star Racing's premier Talladega Superspeedway Series. Denny, go and enjoy this championship. Great way to cap off the season. Best of luck next season.
Thank you, guys. Y'all do a great job up there. Thanks.
Denny Carroll, your champion here
User was moved out of
tonight.
your channel.
Again, I look at the stats, cannot believe them. You mentioned it, Kyle. Consistency wins championships. And we heard Denny say, hopefully there's no chase. I don't know. I think even if he ends up putting together the same numbers next season they put together this season, I don't even think a chase format can stop him from winning the championship.
Yeah, putting up those kind of numbers right there, extremely impressive. And yeah, that would definitely be hard to beat. And I think any championship format, chase, playoff, elimination style playoff, you name it. I mean, you put up that kind of consistency, you're going to be tough to beat. So, very, very impressive season there for Denny Carroll.
Now, we don't know exactly how long of an off season it's going to be here before they resume racing for this Superspeedway series on Saturday nights. But I mentioned about this evening the scenario, the points gap from Denny back to Chuck, and obviously with more drivers retiring out of the race, it put that championship more and more out of reach, which kind of had this race in the same category as a season opener when everybody starts at a clean slate, 0 points, and everybody's just gunning for the victory. They're not necessarily worrying about points anymore. Was this maybe a dress rehearsal for a lot of drivers in preparation for the first race of the new season, because we heard from Bob he hadn't run the full season yet. Only 3 previous starts coming into tonight. A lot of other drivers that may not have run full time. Is this their opportunity to kind of get acclimated to what to expect when the new season kicks off?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no better way to, to prepare for next season by, coming out here running the last, however many races of the season. Those guys that you mentioned that hadn't necessarily run the full schedule, but come out here and been competitive and won races on top of that. So yeah, absolutely a great way to prepare for next season.
Well, an exciting race here tonight to cap off season 2. Denny Carroll gets the job done as the champion. Chuck McClure ends out the season as the only multi-time winner, netting his 3rd checkered flag of the season. Congratulations to both race winner and champion, and we look forward to seeing what they're able to do carrying over into the 3rd season of the premier Talladega Superspeedway Series. We again thank Ken Roberts, Brian Wolf, all of ASR for bringing us over here to cover this finale. Thanks to Blaine Donlin again. He will more than likely be resuming the commentary and broadcast duties for that brand new season, so be sure to head over there and subscribe, follow Tarnation TV for some more great racing like this when the new season resumed. Kyle, obviously a little bit different from us here tonight on a Saturday evening as opposed to a Thursday night, but still treated to some great super speedway racing, and we got some more coming up this Thursday night as well, so appreciate you joining me in the booth here tonight.
Absolutely. Always love doing this, and was treated to a really good race tonight.
Absolutely. Well, again, we thank you all for tuning to our coverage here tonight. Chuck McClure, your race winner. Denny Carroll, your champion for the 2nd season of the All-Star Racing Premier Talladega Superspeedway Series. For Kyle Matthews, I'm Seth Cole. Thanks for spending your Saturday evening with us, folks, as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.